You said we're sort of, whether we want to be Luddites or not, we're brought into the modern age, and a part of that is social media. And I think, touching back on sort of the conversation we were having earlier about the future of hunting, recruitment, and all these ideas, there's two camps when it comes to how hunting should market itself to the non-hunter. I think most people think that the non-hunting public, being the largest majority, hunters and animal rights people on each side of the spectrum, they don't compose the majority. It's mostly, I think, an undecided public. There's differing ideas about how best to reach out to that group and market the lifestyle to them. I think one side says, focus on this sort of noble idea, the noble hunt. It's about meat, it's about the environment, it's about your character. I think obviously both sides are real. It's about family and the pursuit and your love of nature and being a conservationist as part of hunting. It's all very good. And the other side says, the cleaner you make this look, the less understanding they're going to have of the real messiness that is a part of killing something. You're taking something's life. It is oftentimes inherently messy, and it's always violent. Show the gore, show the kill shot, show the trophy. And I empathize with both sides, because I'm getting all the noble hunting stuff, and also I feel an ecstatic joy when I'm trying to kill something, and a thrill. And I think to deny that is to deny a crucial component of killing, which is that, this sort of euphemism for harvesting. Like, yeah, we are harvesting, but we're not harvesting crops. Like, we're killing something.
We're not driving a swather.
Nuh-uh. So, although there's probably a lot of deer killed like that. So could you chart a direction? I think it seems like you're fairly considered and careful with what you do on social media. And if those are the two sides of the pendulum, how do you see that conversation?
That's a real challenge. And it's another area where perception is so often based on individual stance and even the way we're wired, right? I think the people that are super independent and freedom loving are likely to lean towards saying, show the reality. Mm-hmm. And people that are more just inherently diplomatic tend to be like, well, let's not offend anybody by doing so. Really, I think both camps have so much value. I wish we could just bring them together. And there's some really interesting attributes in this. From the time they were very small, my kids have never been allowed to call any food or anything that can contribute to food gross, including gutting an animal, right? A little kid, 2-year-old kid or 4-year-old kid plopped beside an animal that you're taking apart, whether you're doing the gutless method and lifting quarters off, or you've got it hanging from the farm tractor and you're gutting it, they're going to be fascinated. They're not going to be off-put until their mom or dad goes, ew, that stinks, look at the blood, and the stomach gets popped accidentally and it flows out, and somebody, parent or older sibling, is retching and saying, I can't watch this. Little kids are naturally fascinated by, I don't know, for lack of a better word, butchering. They like seeing how everything works together, and if you can take the lungs out, say, look, here's the windpipe. This is where the air comes down and it goes in these lungs. And look, this is the heart with these big arteries coming out. And when it pumps, it sends oxygen to the brain and it lets the animal think and make quick decisions. But it wasn't quick enough to get away from me, was it? And now we get to eat this animal. You can take a turkey leg and let them pull on the tendons after you've cut it off and watch those toes flex. Kids love that sort of thing, and it's not macabre, it's not like a gruesome experience unless you make it that way as an adult and you demonstrate certain types of behavior that they then adopt. I've never seen a little kid that was totally unconditioned, that wasn't fascinated by butchering an animal and then taking a piece of it and throwing it on the fire and eating it. They're like, wow, this is cool. I'm eating a turkey. So I think there's so much societally that we can do to try and make this process less mystical and gory. Doesn't have to be gory unless we make it that way. You're going to deal with offal and stomach matter and gutting, and I mean, every one of my kids now has been cutting and wrapping meat since they could hold a knife safely. It's part of the family tradition. We love eating wild game meat. As far as the photographs and how we represent ourselves on social media, when I should back up. Social media and I are distant friends, right? It's not natural for me to create posts. I have to think them through and about what I'm trying to say, and maybe that's why I appreciate you saying they come across as fairly considered, but I'm not like that younger person that's like, oh, I got to post this, right? It just doesn't, my brain doesn't work that way. It's work for me to post on social media, so I try and present stuff that's worth looking at. Otherwise, why is it worth my time, right? But as far as not ever posting a kill shot, that's not me. If I shot that animal, I will own it, right? I'll also try and add a picture, like, you know, of my son holding out the back straps from his deer. Like, I took a great picture of him doing that. He processed his entire deer by himself this fall. 12-year-old kid, right? Totally comfortable in his own skin with his knife handling that deer, because I had to go, I had a meeting or something I had to get to. And I said, good luck. You've done this before with me, have at it, right? And then I came back, helped him cape off the skull, and he did a good job. I don't think there's a wrong way to present it. I don't think these two camps, this is just me again, it's one man's opinion, right? I don't think they should be arguing over this. They should be supporting each other in it and saying, look, every human is wired differently. Just like every elk responds differently to taking a bullet, every human is going to respond differently to social media stimulation. Let's keep it respectful. That's my primary concern. Let's keep it ethical, and let's be true to ourselves.
That's good. That's a good answer.